People of Reddit with security cameras. What is the creepiest thing you've caught on video? Camera hidden on the side of my house captured my boomer male neighbor walking around his house in the dark. Stop. Pull his pants down and bend over. Then. A stream of brown gravy biscuit mix shot from his ass in the grass. Pulled his pants up and walked out of view. My stepdad woke up one morning and found a bucket of fried chicken in our driveway. For some reason he didn't think it was odd at all. I did and checked our camera recordings. Ends up being this lady walked up to my car at like 3 a.m. with a bucket. She was obviously homeless and probably on drugs. When the camera light turned on, she yelled, "I brought you some chicken," and left the bucket on the ground by my car. To this day I wonder what was up with the chicken lady. Good friend of mine has a camera that also shoots treats for his dog. It notifies him of barking and people movements. Can speak through it. Record videos, etc. He got a barking alert. Logged in to find two complete strangers in his house. Just chilling on his couch. He rushes home. No one is there. House is all locked up. Still can't figure it out. I'm a property manager. And one of the communities I worked at had cameras installed. One night. Person in all black clothes with their hood up gets let in by a resident. Black clothes goes to elevator. Goes up to a specific floor. Then to a specific door. And knocks. Resident opens the door. Black clothes produces a pistol. And bang shoots him the face. And walks off. Back on elevator. Out the same door. Never looked up. Creepy AF. We have Wise cameras with motion detection. Every now and again I'll get an activity tagged motion or person and it's just a 5-second clip of absolutely nothing. Especially weird on a still night. A neighbor came up and pressed his face into our door to look inside. I am a young woman and disabled. And was home alone at the time. His face print was still there when I looked. Fucking creep. I've got cameras downstairs that cover my living room, kitchen and front door. And one in my second closet where I have 2 large gun safes. Maintenance came in to clean and test the smoke detectors and change the AC filter. One of them opened the gun closet and started poking around at the keyboards on my safes. He tells the other guy, "I'm gonna figure out this code one day." The other guy was in my nightstand commenting on the condoms, lube and other assorted coital aids. I simply called the police and met them here. The guy in my nightstand was wearing one of my watches. They both went to jail. Our outdoor kitty had cancer and we didn't have the money to get her help. She wasn't in pain, but just quickly deteriorating. We made up a bed for her outside. Gave her food and water. Played with her favorite toys and said our goodbyes. We went off to bed and hoped she would go peacefully. The next morning. We woke up to her out of her bed. Frantically. We looked for her. Until we found her curled up underneath a shelf. Cozy and tucked away. But she had passed. My dad had a security camera in the garage. So he looked at her last few moments of living. She got up from her bed. Walked around. Sat at the door and mewed for a bit, that part tore me up, and slowly slinked under the shelf. About 2 minutes later. We see a brief glimmer. And what looked like a sheer silk window curtain flowing in front of the camera. Now. I know that it wasn't an actual spirit or ghost. And it was just vapor and dust. But the fact that I had never seen that before. And how it was timed to coincide with her death. I was expecting some paranormal creepy shit. The comments still didn't disappoint. Even though there wasn't any. Guy living inside of one of the broken down cars out by the barn at my parents' house during the winter. We lived about 10 miles out from the closest town that has anything to offer and from there many miles to any other town. He was likely a drifter or homeless and we honestly didn't do anything about it. Just kept mindful that he was there during the nights in case something shady ever went down, but nothing ever did. I think he really just needed somewhere to sleep that wasn't outside. It was surely still freezing cold, but better than the alternative. He left and never returned after winter passed. When it had been a few weeks since we saw him on the cameras at night. We went and looked inside of the car, so many empty cans of beanie weenies, haha. I hope he managed to find his way onto another area that didn't turn him away or was able to get himself into a job and a real home. Okay, so true story, my building doesn't have cameras in the hallways, so I decided to buy Ring camera. A few hours after installing, someone walks up to one of my neighbor's doors. Knocks on the door. No one's answers. They then shove a piece of paper under the door and sets the piece of paper on fire, then takes off running. A couple spiders got pretty romantic with each other right up against the lens. Not a security camera but a trail cam on my uncle's property. We just saw a bear kill and eat a deer. Not creepy but actually funny. About a month ago at 2 a.m. a hedgehog came and rolled around our yard, destroying all the green grass in front of my porch. Not me. But my mom. We're renting out this barn house from this couple who are living in Canada for a few years. They have CCTV in the office. One day, she saw a creepy old man who she never met before waving at her through the CCTV. She eventually found out he knew the people we were renting the house from and didn't realize they moved to Canada, but we were spooked for a while. There is a mentally ill homeless woman living around my neighborhood, and she frequently will go into people's yards if their gates are unlocked and turn on their outside hoses and then leave with water spewing all over the yard. My family heard about this through a neighborhood website and hid our hose in our backyard as a precaution since we had no lock on our gate. We got up one morning and the back patio and garden were pretty much flooded, and we were obviously confused and annoyed. So we checked our security camera footage and saw that around 2:30 a.m. the woman had come into our backyard to find our hose. She couldn't find it at first. So she started looking under chairs and peering into our windows. Growing more intense in her search each minute she didn't find it. Definitely not as creepy as some of the replies I've seen here. But I guess it was just strange to see this grown woman so intent and feverish on finding our garden hose in the middle of the night. As a side note, none of us have reported her for fear of her being arrested for trespassing or taken to a hospital, but we do sometimes leave food outside for her, which is rarely eaten. My mom called me one afternoon from home and told me to take a look at her security camera. There was an absolutely ginormous bug just sitting on the ledge where the camera was. Didn't move a single inch. It was just sitting there. My mom and I were both losing our shit because we didn't know what it was and we were afraid that it would somehow wreck the camera. It sat there for a good 15 minutes before it hopped away. We have no idea why the hell it decided to rest there. But fuck that bug. Worked in one of the oldest buildings in my college town. Was once a Wild West saloon where 2 people were documented to be killed in a shootout when the state was still a territory. In the 20s it served as someone's house, where the youngest daughter was documented to have died in childhood. When I got hired on, even the owners talked about it being haunted. I've never truly seen a ghost or had an encounter. But something about the building, particularly the office to the back and definitely the dirt basement, did not feel right to me at all. Not malevolent, but always off. My first closing shift after I get promoted to key holder. I'm also helping a new girl who has really taken the whole ghost spiel she got a few days prior to heart. This particular store ranged from small little treasures that were almost too easy not to steal, to a few items that cost 5x the going rate for tuition at the local college. Naturally, the owners had 15 cameras installed that played on a live feed in the office and in the storefront for customers to see to know they weren't being slick. I'm counting the drawer and she's anxiously watching the security camera, just waiting to see something crazy. I'm putting the final totals into a calculator and she screams. She calls me over to the camera feed. And there it is on the top right feed. Very clearly there is what looks like a figure in a white, boxy nightgown type dress. We are both near pissing our pants. But we can't leave. There's still a bunch of stuff to get done and the owners and the opener tomorrow will be pissed if we just ditch the last half of the closing responsibilities on account of a ghost. We watch it, stunned as it appears to sway. Suddenly, a huge spider obscures the view of the figure. We, 2 grown women, have been near tears for what feels like ages because we've been watching a fucking spiderweb that the AC blew into view of the camera. My son started sleepwalking and having night terrors when he was around 11. Always looks odd to see him walking around in the middle of the night. In my town there was a fairly popular restaurant that everyone went to all the time. Everyone loved the place. The owner was this short, adorable, lovable guy that everyone liked. A few years ago, someone noticed something off in the bathroom. Upon investigation they found a camera set up in the bathroom. Apparently the owner had been videoing people doing their business for years and was even found to be a part of a child porn trafficking ring on the deep web. Needless to say, our small town was shocked. Everyone used that bathroom at one point or another. We don't live in that house anymore. But we caught a neighbor giving red rocket to his dog in our yard. If anyone has seen South Park, you know what red rocket is. When we asked why he was doing that, and said we have physical evidence, he denied everything. He claimed all of it was edited. It wasn't. He was later arrested for some animal sex charges or something. I'm still not sure since it was about 9 years ago. My gate cam caught a pair of skunks having dirty skunk sex at like 2 a.m. Not mine, but I read a story of a guy working security at a rail yard. One night on camera a train hit a deer, killing it next to the tracks, and a guy walked out of the nearby woods completely naked. Got down on all fours and started eating it raw. Just walked back into the woods after. Thanks for watching.